Hello everyone, welcome and welcome back to my channel. My name is Juliet. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I made this lovely gown. First, I have my fabric here. I folded it into two using the bust measurement I'm working with divided by 4. And then for the length, I placed 5 inches from the beginning of the fabric, and then I marked the half length I'm working with plus extra 1 inch. It's an off the shoulder, so that 5 inches for the off. That's the measurement we're taking off. Here I'm marking the bust band measurement as the nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 plus half inch of allowance. So I'm marking 4, and then using my ruler I'm connecting that together. Next, placing my tape from 5 inches again, I'm going to mark the shoulder to nipple measurement as well as the under bust, shoulder to under bust measurement. I'm going to mark the same thing all across and then connect again using my ruler. So if this is your first time on my channel, thank you so much for stopping by. Please consider subscribing. I drop sewing videos once every week. Also, don't forget to give this video a like and share it with your friends. So after rolling out my lines, next we're going to mark the dart on the bust dart. So from this point, I'm going to mark 1.5 inches out. And then I'll do the same thing on the half length line. So using my ruler, I connected this point. Then from that point, I'm going to make a curve to the bust point. So that is it for the down part. So up here, I'm going to mark 1 inch. From that dart, I'll mark 1 inch outwards. And then I will mark half inch inwards on that line. And then I will connect the 2 points to the bust point. So next on this down part, I'm going to mark half inch inwards from that line again. And then I'll connect to the bust point like so. Then up here, I will come down by 1.5 inch. And then I'll connect to that point to form the sweetheart neckline. So next we're going to cut. We're not marking any armhole for the front just yet. We'll do that much later. So this is it for the front. Next we're going to be cutting the back. So I have the fabric here folded into two. Using the bust measurement I'm working with divided by 4 plus extra 5 inches. It's the same for the front. I don't know if I mentioned, but that is it. And then the length is the same. From 5 inches I marked the half length measurement plus extra 1 inch of allowance. So here I'm marking 1.5 inches. That is the zip allowance. I marked it all the way down, and then I'm using my ruler to connect together. So to mark, I marked the shoulder measurement I'm working with up here. So shoulder divided by 2 minus 1.5 inches is what I'm marking here. Half of the shoulder measurement I'm working with minus 1.5 inches. So next I'm marking the armhole, which I used 3 inches here. You can use 4 if you're sewing for a bigger person. So next from that zip line, I marked quarter of the bust measurement I'm working with, and then from there I curved the armhole. Next on this down part, I'm going in by ½ inch. I'm going to connect that to the upper part. This is to help eliminate the zip bulge. So I'm going to measure 8 inches down, placing my tape from 5 inches again. That is where the slant will stop, like so, and that is where the dart is going to stop as well. So down here I am marking the bust part measurement again, which is 4 inches, and then I'm going to make a notch. We're going to use that to mark the dart later. So here I am opening the back piece into two, and then I'm going to trim off this ½ inch slant. Next I'm going to cut out the armhole, and this is it for the back piece. So I'm going to go on ahead and cut lining pieces for both the front and the back, and this is what we have here. I've also gone ahead to cut my breast pad, and I've ironed it on the front part of these bodies. Next, we're going to go join the front pieces together. I'm going to place them right sides together like so. Starting from the down part, we're going to join them all the way up, and then I will do the same thing for this second front piece. Same for the lining pieces. So here is the strap. So I took out 5 inches for the off shoulder. So for the front and the back, that is going to make it 10 inches plus another 1 inch for joining it, making 11. So my straps are 11 inches long and then 4 inches wide. So folded into 2. I'm going to go sew using half of an inch like so, and then I'll turn it back to the right side. Here I'm going to mark the darts on the back piece. So after trimming off that ½ inch, I'm going to mark a new dart, which is another 1.5, and then connect to the upper part like so. So next I'm marking the dart, placed my tape from 5 inches at the top, and then I marked 8 inches. So that 8 inches is 1 inch above the bust point. So I'm going to mark another 4 inches up there, and then connect to that notch we made on the down part. So turning to this side, I'm doing the same thing for the second back piece. So I'm going to mark the same thing for the lining, and I'll go join the zip line and then sew the darts together like so. I will iron them and we'll be back. So here are the straps. I have turned them to the right side and I ironed. The seam is in the middle, as you can see, and then this is the back lining piece, main fabric, and the front main fabric. So I have gone ahead to mark my measurements. So from that zip line, I marked quarter of the bust measurement up, and then quarter of the half length round on this down side, starting from the zip line. And then these are the 2 lines that we have. So I'm going to place the front piece right sides together with this back, pin them together, and then we will go sew on those lines. I'll do the same thing for the lining pieces. So after sewing, I reduced my seam allowances to 1.5 inches, and then I'm trimming the lower part of the bodice like so. After that, we're going to trim the armhole now. So using the back armhole, we're going to trim the front armhole. That way all of them are equal and everything is good. So after that, I'll turn it to the right side and give it a good press, and then I will repeat this same process on the lining. Next, I've opened up the upper bodice that's at the zip side. I've opened it up. We're going to place the straps on the front like so. So the part with the seam, I consider it the wrong side, so we're placing the straps right sides together with the upper bodice, and I'm also leaving ½ inch at the edge before pinning it. So you leave ½ inch from the armhole in and then pin your strap from there. And then I will do the same thing for this other side with the second strap. So I mark ½ inch and then I'll place it. Then I will pin. Next I'm going to place the lining on the right side like so. Right side of the lining to the right side of the main fabric, and then we'll go sew the neckline like that. So after sewing the front, this is what we have. Next we're going to pin the strap to the back using the same process. Just make sure your strap is not twisted, and then it's sitting just how it should sit, right sides together. We're also going to leave ½ inch on the side like so before pinning. We're going to repeat the same thing on this side as well. Fold it in such a way that it is not twisted and is going to sit just how it should when you're done. I'm also marking ½ inch from the edge. That is where the strap is going to sit. So after pinning, I am going to turn the lining back to the right side, and then we're going to go sew the back neck and also the zip side like so. We'll do the same thing for this side as well. Place the lining over it, so the strap should be inside, as you can see. And then we're going to go sew like so, and then iron the neckline. This is what we have so far. Everything is looking clean. Next, we're going to cut the lower part. So I have 2.5 yards of Ankara fabric here, the same fabric I've been working with. So I measured out 2.5 yards, and then I folded it into as many parts as possible. That's why it's looking this slim. So placing my tape from 15 inches, which is the half length we're working with, I marked the length of the whole gown plus extra 2 inches. That's what we're going to be using for the lower skirt. So the width is 2.5 yards. So here it's folded into two. I'm notching the middle, which is going to be the center front. Then I'm folding again into two. Now that's like 4 folds. So on this side, this is the side that's going to be on the side seam. I notched that point, and I'm also going to iron to give it a crease. This is going to help when I am placing the pockets much later. So using my iron, I want to give that part a crease. There's a notch there and also a crease that will really help us later. So for the pocket piece, I have 13 inches by 13 inches piece of fabric here, and I folded it into two. We're going to cut the two pockets with this piece. So folding it into two, I'm cutting out this edge, the factory edge. Here I'm marking 2 inches in, and then I'm going to mark 6.5 inches downwards like so, and then I'll connect these 2 points with a curve. That is the part where your hand will pass through. Like that will be the pocket opening. So next I'm going to curve out these corners on the downside like so, and then we will cut out. So give this video a like if you have learned anything so far. I would really appreciate that. So after cutting this pocket now, we're going to use a bias pieces to pipe round the pockets. So this is how they're going to sit on the dress. So here's the bias piece. I'm just going to put it like so. So the fabric, the Ankara piece will be in between the bias pieces. So folded into two now. I'll just go sew it around the pocket pieces, and then this is what they are looking like so far. So next I'm going to pin them on the lower skirt, and then I will go and sew. So remember the notch and the crease we made earlier. I'm going to open that up. So on the right side of this lower skirt, so this is the side seam, the notch is there and the crease as well. So I'm going to place this part on that crease. I'm going to pin it like so. This is how it should face. The pocket opening should be facing the side seam. So I'm going to go sew like so all the way. Start from the top, sew around this curve and stop there. We're going to do the same thing for the second pocket. Get the crease and the notch, and then place the pocket like so, and we will go sew all the way around. I will also hem the lower part of this fabric piece. So I'm going to go sew and fold the lower part like I said. After that, this is what our pocket is looking like. This is the second one. Next we're going to pin to the upper bodice. We're going to go make pleats or gathers. You can use any of the two. I made pleats for this one. So this is the center point for the upper bodice. I'm going to match it to the center point of the lower skirt the notch that we made, or the notches that we made rather. Then I'm going to match the side seam to the next notch. And then I will pin the other edge, leaving about ½ inch hanging on this side. You will know why in a bit. We're going to do the same thing for this side. Match the other side seam to the other notch. And then pin the edge, leaving about ½ inch hanging like so. So I'm going to take this now to my machine and make pleats to fill up those spaces like so. But I'm going to leave 1½ inches from the edge for the zip, so we don't want pleats in the way of our zip when we're fixing it later. So I'll make the pleats all the way, and I'll also leave about 1½ inch on this other end. So after making my pleat, this is what the dress is looking like. I didn't pleat over the pockets. When I got to the point where the pockets were, I left them the way they are, and then I continued with the pleats, as you can see. So next I'm cutting lining for the lower skirt. So I have a piece of lining here, it's about 1½ inches wide. So I'm going to cut, the lining is going to stop somewhere below the knee. You can make your lining as long as the dress, maybe make it like 4 inches shorter than the lower skirt, but I made mine just below the knee. So I placed 15 inches, which is the half length I'm working with, and then I marked about 41 inches down, putting in mind the folding allowance. So I'm cutting that out. I'm going to make notches just like we did for the main fabric. I notch the center front, and then I notch the side seams. Next I'm going to place the lining on the upper part. So we place the lower part and the upper part together, right sides. The lining is going to sit on the side that has the upper bodice. That way our raw edges are going to be covered by the time we are done. So matching the notches, this is the center front. I matched the center notch there, and then the second notch on the side seam. And then next we're going to pin at the edge, also leaving ½ inch, the same way we did for the main fabric. On this side again, I'm placing the notch at the side seam, and then we'll pin the remaining edge of the lining to this corner. So I'm going to go hem the lower part like so, inwards. Then I will make pleats, also leaving 1½ inches before I start and 1½ inches before I end. Next I will sew this side like so. After making the pleats and hemming, I will close this other side like so. After that, this is what we have. The inside of the dress is looking clean, and this is the side, the center back where the zip is going to sit. Next I'm going to fold it like so. To close the center back, I'm going to fold into two like so. Then I will mark 7 inches down from the half length. So from this half length here now, I mark 7 inches down. Then from there, I'm going to mark 1 inch, which is the zip allowance. So now that we've turned it with the lining, we are using only 1 inch because we have already used ½ inch to turn it. So for the upper part, we're going to add a zipper there, and this is what we have. So next we're cutting the sleeve, the puffy sleeve. I have my fabric here. It's 15 inches wide, and then the length I added extra 6 inches to the length I'm working with. So I'm working with 8 inches for the sleeve length, and then I added extra 6 inches to it. So I have 2 here for the 2 sleeves, folded into 2. So it's 30 inches altogether, folded into 2 gave it 15. And then for the length I added extra 6 inches. So next, on the open end of these sleeve pieces, I am going to place the armhole on it and trace it out. But first I will mark 1 inch inwards from the edge. That is going to be our seam allowance. And then we're going to leave another 1.5 at the top for an elastic casing. So I will just fold that upper part inside. Then I will place the armhole on it and we'll trace it out. So this is it. I use my chalk to mark it out and then we will cut. So next we're going to go close the sleeve pieces using that 1 inch that we marked. We're going to go close that. Then we'll fold the down part such that 1/4 inch elastic can pass through, and then we'll do the same thing for this upper part after joining it first. So this is what we have. I also left a bit of space for where we'll pass the elastic through, and then here are my elastic pieces. I used 6 inches long for the upper part, and then the part on the the lower part of the sleeve I use 7 inches long elastic piece. What you should do is take out about 4 inches from your bicep measurement or your round measurement wherever your sleeve length stops. So using my safety pin and passing the elastic through, notice that I pinned that end before I continued passing it through so that it doesn't come all in. We'll end up doing one thing twice. So that is it. Next I'm going to add the one for the lower part, 7 inches. So using my safety pin again, I'm passing the elastic on the down part. So I'm going to pin this other end of the elastic to the sleeve piece to prevent it from getting in. So I'm going to keep passing it all around until we get to this side. So next we're going to go join the elastic together and then close that space we left. I will repeat the same thing for the second sleeve. So after doing everything, this is what we have. This is for the 2 sleeves. Next we're going to join them to the dress. So here's our dress. I'm going to match the side seam of the dress to the side seam of the sleeve. Side seam to side seam. Match them together using my pin. Now I'm going to hold it in place and then I'll pin the side to the side. That was why we left that 1/2 inch at the side there, so that we will use it to join the sleeve much later. So using my pins now, I'm going to take it to the machine now and sew the sleeves together, and that is it on how to make this lovely dress. So if you are still watching at this point, thank you so much. Please give this video a like, share it with your friends, and leave me a comment in the comment section below. I will see you in my next video. Bye.